So I figured that it's been 2 years now that I've had the Luxe Minipeak two-person tent, and that's longer than I have a lot of my gear because I just happen to buy and trade and kind of want to try it all, you know. And I've gone through a few shelters since I got that thing. I learned to sew, I built my own, and that thing stayed with me for the last couple of years. And I took it on some archery hunts in the summer, in the heat. But this last fall, we took it to, me and a buddy each had one and took it elk hunting in Idaho. And man, those things were kick-ass. They were light for the most part. I've said in the past that they could be made out of lighter material, but they held up really well. I didn't even end up seam sealing mine, and we hung out all night on a ridge, just a downpour, and no leaks anywhere. Nothing got wet that wasn't already soaking wet. I don't have anything negative at all to say about them. That whole zipping up both sides and rolling it up and using it as a sunshade, that sounded like a good idea when I thought of it, but when you need shade from the sun and you get under that, it's just radiant heat. Yeah, you're in the shade, but you're not any cooler really. So that never ended up. I've never ever done that. I've tried, but it just did not pencil out. Other than that, I was kind of rewatching that video I did a couple years ago on that thing, and other than that, it's been bomb-proof really. I've never run it floorless. I ran it for half of an evening. That's a different story. I did run it floorless half an evening, like in, I guess it was late October, really cold, and I sewed a stove jack into it, and I had a titanium stove in there, which warms that thing up real fast. But it was a DIY stove I bought off of a guy, and the legs kept failing, and it would fall to the ground and start smoldering all the, twigs and stuff that were underneath, and it was just not a good night at all. But the nest is badass. You can run that thing, without the outer and just look at the stars if you want to go super light and really good early season, weather. But I liked having the nest. We got a lot of critters here in California, and when we got to Idaho the very first night, we saw a rattlesnake walking back to the pickup. So it gives you a little bit of a peace of mind, and having all that extra space for gear on the other half of the teepee is so nice. We were hauling meat one night in Idaho this September, and soaking wet the whole night, and just finally got back in our tents, got all that wet stuff off. Put the pack over here and all the gear over here and kind of laid it out. It wasn't going to dry out, but it gives you a place to put it, and put some insulation layers on before we went to bed. And it was just nice to have the ability to sit up, get changed, and be totally out of the weather. I just bought a Kuiu Mountain Star two-person tent, and it has two vestibules that still don't have the amount of space that this Minipeak does. I bought that because it has a bit of a framework. When we were in Idaho, we set up in pretty much a rock pile, and I will say having 8 stakes in a windstorm was kind of tough. We ended up having to put boulders down on all of them, and then they held up and gave us no troubles through the night. But the whole night I was just waiting for the thing to come, crashing down in a big gust, and having to get up in the rain and go fix everything, and made me go, man, there's a time and a place to have a tent that's freestanding with minimal stakes. I mean, the one I have, we could have rode that night out with 2 stakes in the ground, which wouldn't have been bad. That would be the only thing I could say that has been a kind of a sketchy deal with that Minipeak, is just the location. We didn't have a much better location to go to. We just happened to be in a real rocky area, and putting stakes in the ground was just kind of a bitch. But otherwise, every place else I've ever put that thing up has been awesome. So yeah, still keep in touch with those folks over there at Luxe. Super cool company and people over there. They got like a twin peak now. They're into the hot tent thing, and they got some really cool stuff. Everything's really modular, which is nice. Yeah, I figured I'd just let you know. I still love that little thing, and still, wouldn't hesitate to buy one.